Warriors, YouTube Live. Here we go. These YouTube Lives are focused on questions, your questions, and answers from me. And they won't go for very long, about an hour and 5, hour and 10 minutes. Yes, we are early today with this live. But if you're here, coming on, welcome. As we just wait for a few more warriors to show up here. Grab your water, grab your tea, come stay a while, come join us. And I get your questions through the comment section, my friends. And if you don't know much about me, I am an author of 4 books. And the audiobook for the Essential Guide to Health Anxiety is on its way. That should be coming out in the first of the month. So a lot of people are asking about that one. And I hope you've enjoyed the paperback version of the Essential Guide to Health Anxiety. I know many of you are. Good morning, Eddie. Yes. Oh, Montana. Hey, how are you? I love you. Hope you're doing well, girl. So nice to see you here for however long you'd like to stay. But yeah, I am an author. I have a number of digital programs at theanxietyguy.com that you can check out. And I've been helping people for the last decade or so. And I never determined that I would do this kind of work, but more so was pulled in this direction through my own dark days with multiple anxiety disorders. And here we are being led, and people seem to want to listen to what I have to say. So here we are. Love you all. Yes, keep the comments going. And if you do enjoy these lives, give it a like, give it a thumbs up, because I want to do these regularly. As you can see, this is the second one in a row. Last week we did a Sunday. And if this time is good for you, comment below, right? I'm here for you guys. I love you all. It's so nice to connect with you all. And really, it's just nice to build a community and see where you are more than anything. Montana, that is very, very kind of you. Thank you so much. Thank you from London. Lakota Moon Dancer, yes. How are you? Nice to have you here. Welcome. Renee, hello from New York. Hello. Morning for you. Fantastic. Haberti, thank you from Norway. Fantastic. Robin, my fiance, originally from Norway. Fun fact. Fabulous. I just recently discovered you, Crystal says. Enjoying your content very much. That's very kind. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I want to get into questions quite quickly here. Yeah. And when it comes to the questions, when you ask a question, I really don't know where I'm going to go with it. A lot of times the questions, we can go down a rabbit hole, but I don't give it much thought. I like to kind of go with my intuition on things. Because I can really relate to a lot of the questions because I've been in those dark places before. So if you ask a question, we never know where we're going to go. But doesn't matter because you're here and you need to hear something from this. Take a lesson from it, and that's what we're going to do. Mohammed, oh, there's a long one there, Eddie. We'll get to that one. Montana, I am in Europe. Yes, I am actually slowly heading up to the UK. I'll be in London. Let's see here. Thoughts on Dr. Gabor Mate. I'm a fan, definitely a big fan. His work on childhood trauma should be listened to, I believe, from every anxiety sufferer there is. And he's got a lot of valuable pieces of knowledge that can help you with your mindset towards your childhood traumas. and PTSD and OCD. He's very, very good at that. In terms of practical, um, he's good. I wouldn't say he's the best, but that's just me. But he's got a lot of valuable input on, especially childhood trauma. Yeah. Let's see. How long did you struggle? Well, initially with anxiety, I thought I only struggled for a few years, but the truth was I had been struggling since about the age of 2, which a lot of people are going, well, that's not anxiety, Dennis. That's just stress from a kid. Not necessarily. Golden years between conception and the age of 6 creates the blueprint of how we see ourselves in the world. It creates the associations that we have, and then later in adulthood those associations become stronger through the body. So I like to say that time doesn't necessarily heal if you've just given it time. Time just reveals to us what we've been suppressing all these years, right? So it's important to keep that in mind, right? The body will tell you what sort of associations, what sort of anger, what sort of fears, especially fears you're still hanging on to, stemming from those golden years way back when. But in terms of me struggling, I was struggling for 30 years, around 30 years, until I started to take steps forward. Yeah, hit the thumbs up. Always nice to be here with you guys. Champions, Warriors, fantastic. Love your comments. Semi Ujar, merhaba. Let's see here. Joseph, what's up, my friend? What's up? I promised Eddie I would go through this question here. A quick thank you for those likes. Fantastic, guys. Great to connect with you all, really. Um, I was recently feeling really well and motivated with a goal, but once I started doing homework in school, I started to have more panic symptoms and palpitations. Any insight? Yeah. I believe that there's a chance that because you started to do homework in school, your system said, started to panic, your system panicked because underlyingly there may be a fear of doing the homework wrong or doing the schooling wrong, and therefore the panic was there to keep you from doing your homework, if that makes sense, right? So as you can see, Eddie was doing great, then school started, then he had to do some homework, and then the system said if you don't do it perfectly the way your mom or dad want you to do it, then you may feel like a failure again and you may be overwhelmed, right? You see what's going on here? So then the panic arose to keep you from doing the homework, keep you from going to school, and to keep you in your comfort zones, basically, environmentally, mentally, emotionally. So I would reflect on that, Eddie. Does that help? Comment below, or does that speak to you at all? Let's see here. Because, I mean, guys, the body is always sending messages. When you see symptoms and sensations as messages of suppressed feelings, suppressed associations, when you see them as warning signals, right? Then you start to really understand the entire system, the organism, right? Um, for a long time, when I panicked, I thought, "Oh my God, I'm panicking." It's just this physical thing. No, the panic really was there to keep me from going to the mall. It was there to remind me of something in my environment that reminded me of a past trauma. A lot of times the color red would spur on a lot of anxiety and panic within me. Like, why is red causing so much panic and anxiety? I was thinking to myself. Then I had to reframe the color red, right? You'll hear me say reframe a lot because that's my default when I work with people. I like to clean up their stuff that's hidden at a subconscious level, mind and body, before we do anything. I don't know why there's so many people out there that are looking to add stuff into their life, like, oh, new lifestyle habits, oh, affirmations, oh, this and that. And they're trying to, take off, right? Before they actually clean up the things they have to clean up. You're just adding mold. You're just adding good milk to moldy milk. It's going to be moldy if you do that, right? Let's see. Does that help, Eddie? Hi from India. Beamer, yes. Hello to you. Hello to you. My question is, how about during a period of endless problems, especially if you feel you are losing brain power over the years? If you've got a period of endless problems, then those problems will continue to escalate in your life until you've learned the lesson you need to learn. And a lot of times that lesson needs some reflecting, number one. And number two, there has to be a perspective change so that the problems look differently, number one, and then they lessen in the future, number two. So there's a lesson that needs to be learned here. There's a fear that needs to be overcome. There's something there that keeps these external problems continuing in your life. And you really need some reflection there, right? Thank you so much. Oh, Eddie, okay. Yeah, thank you so much for the insight. Helps a lot. Okay. I've been doing meditation, but I still get the panic symptoms. Now, let's touch on this for a second. Comment below if you've added meditation to your daily routines to deal with the anxiety. Comment below. I'd like to know how many people are meditating, how many people are doing some form of meditation on a daily basis, or when you remember to do so. Who's meditating? Let's see here. Montana says, every day. David, I've been listening to your affirmations almost daily as meditation. Fantastic. Fantastic. Now, here's the issue with meditation. Okay. When you have anxiety, okay, one of the tricks of your inner child is to keep you feeling like you need to keep calming yourself down. Okay. So, for a long time in my life, because I had anxiety for many, many years, my response to that was, okay, there's the anxiety. I need to calm myself down. Okay. Meditation is a way to gain further insight into things. That's how I like to see meditation. Okay. Now, let's say an anxiety sufferer begins meditation, but it's not what they need. Then what? Then the symptoms will continue and they'll like look at your results. You do in meditation. Do you still feel the same way? Right? Are you still caught up in an endless uh, fear-centered prison? Right? Like is it happening or is it actually helping? So you have to look at your results if you've started meditation. Hey, things are improving in my life. Keep doing what you're doing. Hey, it's not really getting better. If it's not getting better, well, you may need to stop meditating so much, number one, and you may need to start expressing more. This is a very important point, and it's great that you're here to hear this. You have to start expressing more. For example, a lot of anxiety sufferers don't feel worthy of feeling better. They haven't felt healthy ever in their entire lives. And when they start to feel healthy again, they're going, what do I do with this? Right? They start to feel calm. They start to get little, afraid. They start to feel uncomfortable with relaxation. Oh my God, I'm missing out on something. So you may need to, in that moment, do something, say something, speak up, go somewhere, walk a certain way, do something that moves you into a place of expressing the worthiness that you actually have, right? So meditation is great, but at the same time you have to pay attention. You have to pay really close attention because there's something that you haven't told your dad yet that you need to tell him, either face to face in an imaginative sense or some kind of deathbed therapy if they're no longer here. Expression. You have to express yourself to your dad, express yourself to your mom, express yourself to the bullies in the school from back in high school. Those things are still lingering in different ways. When you walk, you need to walk in a more confident manner. When there's a stranger, you need to ask them a question. You know, these are things, instead of, moving away from an environment, you need to move towards it. So anxiety sufferers need to understand the balance between things. Balance between meditation, which gives you the clarity, and expression, which will create the change in association. For example, there's someone here that said, let me see if I could find it. Sanskari Sudu said, I will get anxiety attack when I go into public and being ashamed. Okay, so let's take this example. When he goes out into public, he feels the anxiety brewing, right? Now, someone who tells him, go home and learn how to relax, right, is doing nothing. That person is doing nothing to change the association in that very moment where he's starting to feel anxious, right? So what does he need to do, right? He needs to, while controlling his emotional state as best he can, controlling his physiology, slow down his speed out in public, right? Focus on mindful breathing a little bit, right? Okay. Hand gestures and such, these sorts of things all play a part in whether something is threatening or safe, right? So I wouldn't tell Sanskari to go home and meditate and look to calm down, because he could go home and calm down, but the moment he comes back out again, he's going to be anxious. So you have to prove to your system, your inner child, that the public is safe and everything within it is safe. Okay, so here's where we're making the mistake many times, right? If you're doing your meditation out in public, okay, that's cool. Guess where I used to meditate, right? Very, very commonly in the most chaotic places I could find. I experimented with everything, right? So that's pretty much why I'm here, to be able to prove this to you. You know, you want to meditate? Go meditate in front of the traffic. Not on the traffic, obviously, but you know what I'm talking about. Out in a park where you can hear the traffic. Traffic is stimulating, right? You go to the mall, right? Meditate there. Close your eyes, right? Find a chair with strangers. So we're changing the associations here. Does that make sense? Comment below. But you need to understand, do I need more meditation or do I need more expression? Right? Expressing myself and proving to my system that this environment, the strangers, everything within it is safe, not threatening. The more threatening something is, the more anxiety symptoms you're going to feel, right? And then it becomes chronic after some time. Okay? You have to be aware of those things. Ajis Oikonomakis. Could you please talk about morning anxiety? Okay, what aspect of it? Thank you. Everything, you're like a hero to me. Oh, that's so kind of you. Morning anxiety, can I talk about it? Well, yeah, a lot of people, feel better in the evenings that I've gone through in the last 12 years than they do in the mornings. Wake up in the mornings with some hesitation, some feelings of vulnerability, right? Um, in terms of morning, you really need to make sure you're structured, I feel. There needs to be some kind of a structure. There needs to be 2 or 3 things that you do each and every morning. And even when you start feeling better in the morning, you have to keep doing them. But let me give you 3 things that you have to do in the morning. Number 1, you have to add some kind of an imaginative aspect to your morning. Okay, so you wake up in the morning, imagine your entire day unfolding the way you want it to, without anxiety. Okay, so there has to be an imaginative aspect to the morning for your habits, right? Number 1. Number 2, there has to be something that you do that that creates flexibility in the body and therefore mind. So it doesn't matter to me if you do yoga, go for a walk, right? All this stuff, do a sport, run up a hill, doesn't matter. But the body's got to move, and the rigidity needs to leave. Okay, so that has to happen. And number three, you have to do something with water. You're going, what? Okay, you have to do something with water. One of the simplest things you can do with water, because for me, water is a great cleanser. It's a great detoxification, mind, body, spirit, everything. So you go to the sink, wash your hands, and as you're washing, Look at the dripping off your water and pretend that everything related to anxiety is dripping off as you're washing your hands. Okay, so those are 3 things that you could do in the morning, my friend. Okay, is this helping? Comment below if this is helping you so far. What the biggest clarity moment is for you so far in this live. Thanks for joining, by the way, guys. Thanks for joining. Sorry about the squeaky chair. It's a little bit squeaky. I don't know if you can hear it or not. There were some people talking about incantations or affirmations. I don't mind touching on those. Do you want to touch on that related to anxiety? Can anxiety cause weakness in the muscles? Absolutely. 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 Someone said yes, related to the affirmation advice that I have for people. Cheryl, hey Cheryl, I meditate using spirituality outside first thing in the morning. Fantastic. Check your results. If things are going in the right direction that you intuitively want them to go, keep doing what you're doing. If they're not, start reflecting. Let's see here. I have multiple PTSD from a toddler, white rabbit. That's the majority of us. Majority of us. I would go to my YouTube, well, you're on YouTube, and I would go to my Reframing playlist and play with those a little bit. There are definitely a lot of techniques that we can do to kind of reverse this. Ajis, does that help you for morning? Where can I see you in London, please? When we head up that way, Lakota, from Instagram and on the community tab here on YouTube, I will be updating some things that I will be doing, like a book signing, for example. So if you have your book, right, bring it over, and I will do a nice little tea get together with a lot of the warriors over there in the UK. So pay attention to those. I will be updating for sure on the Instagram. Did I just say the Instagram? Charles Bronson, Dennis, have you touched on the importance of cleaning up the way we eat? Yes, from time to time to help with anxiety. This is a interesting area because eating for me is twofold. Okay, there are 2 types of importance to eating. Number 1 is, what sort of association do you have to what it is you're eating? Okay, because if you've got this negative connection or relationship with what you're eating, but the food itself is healthy, then you're not going to benefit from it. Right? So, like, I cut up some ginger today and I put it in the tea, and I got ginger, right? Fantastic. Numerous ways. But if I think about the ginger and I'm going, I don't like the way it tastes, right? And I don't like the way it looks. When I was a kid, I never liked ginger, right? And I'm eating ginger and I've got this face going on, the soury face, tea or whatever. I don't like the smell of it, maybe. These are certain characteristics that you have in connection with the ginger. Then there will be no benefit to me eating this ginger. You can eat as much broccoli, ginger, lettuce, celery that you want. If you don't have a positive emotional relationship with the food that you're eating, you will not benefit from it. That's number 1. That's number 1. Okay. Does that speak? Does that make sense? That's number 1. Number 2 is, we have to look at the individual, right? We have to look at the individual, not general, and not as anxiety in general. We have to look at the individual and ask ourselves, what is this person deficient in? Okay, so deficiencies are important. You could be eating all the right things, but they're not really helping you. Okay, so there's a deficiency there. So in terms of eating, this is a general sense with anxiety sufferers. Number one, B vitamins. Hello, right? Multivitamin in terms of B complex, B complex. Okay, that's number one. Okay. Um, what B complex will do is, if there are stressors as you're going through the day, it will help you to deal with those stressors in a very easy way, right? So you don't feel like you're using so much willpower, so much volition to get through the day. This isn't as bad as it was. B complex will help you with that. We're looking at deficiencies for the individual. Ashley, give her a hand. There she is. True warrior, used to suffer, right? And wrote her own book. Fantastic. Love you, girl. Sorry, B complex, zinc. Okay, zinc deficiencies. Okay, it's a big one. Magnesium. Magnesium. I'm not going to give you a bunch, but I will give you those three. But in terms of the diet, in terms of the food, the associations, number one, the deficiencies, number two. The associations, number one, deficiencies, number two. Top Gun, giving it up for Ashley. Absolutely. She wrote her own book, man. It's amazing. It's fantastic. Right? You all have a book in you. All right? Let's see here. How often should we eat per day to beat anxiety? Honestly, blood sugar levels play a massive part, especially when you wake up in the morning. Anxiety sufferers need to eat, I believe, within the first hour of waking up. That's probably the most important in terms of going through the day. So you want to keep track of your blood sugar levels with anxiety. When I was suffering from anxiety, I had to eat 4 or 5 times a day, because when I started to feel dizzy and when I started to get symptomatic, I knew that it had something to do with low blood sugar, and I had to take care of that. So 4 or 5 times a day. Yeah. But I'm not a nutritionist. I'm not. I'm not a herbalist either. These are things that helped me and seem to be helping other people as well. Okay, but I would pay attention to those things. Top Gun says, Ashley, woohoo! That's right, hands in the air, like you just don't care. Um, yeah, a lot of congrats for Ashley for sure. Love this girl, serious inspiration. Ashley, are you doing anything still on Insta or anything like that, or have you kind of put it aside a bit, focused on yourself? Is there anybody can read your book? Would be amazing, right? I haven't even read it yet. Rob Palma, how are you? Started health anxiety about a year ago. Okay, and because of your videos, I have been able to use the techniques and trace it back. I truly cannot thank you enough. That's great to hear. I love it. When somebody says the word technique, I'm going, yes, 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 right? Because it's not just like, here's the knowledge, here's the mindset, then there's the techniques, my friends. And it's about the techniques. So that's great, Rob. Awesome. There are numerous, well, I actually just like working with 5 or 6 techniques. It's been the same for me for the last like 10 years. I don't waver from that. Even when I'm working with someone one-on-one, it'll be those 5 or 6 techniques, right? And those seem to just work so well, right? And a few of them are free here on YouTube, so check out those if you're interested. I could talk about those more. Patty's here. Hello, Patty. Hey, Dennis, the first chapter of the Essential Guide is awesome. I have underlined literally half of every page. It is the best summation by far. Well, that is nice of you. I'm glad it spoke to you. And the audiobook should be coming out by the 1st. So, for all you audiobook lovers out there, get ready. Essential Guide to Health Anxiety coming up. Joseph says, congratulations, Ashley. Absolutely. Yeah, give this live thing a thumbs up if you want to see more. This is the second one we've done in consecutive weeks, Sunday morning for most Easterners. Let's see here. Questions. I was agoraphobic, but not for very long. Haberti. Okay. But we can dive if you want to. Jennifer Cook, you always help us, Dennis. My question is, how are you? I am well. I'm well. We're doing a bit of a Europe tour of things. More than anything, I'm just, I like meeting people that have benefited from my work. And so I know I'm not sharing too much of that on social. It's a lot of emailing back and forth stuff, but England, in the UK, I'm going to make it kind of a social get together with a bunch of people. So it's going to be nice to see you in the UK. I remember March, April, UK. So that's happening. And I am well. I am well. I really am. I feel like, when I was in Bali and living in Bali for a number of years, it's just, the traffic and the fumes and that. It kind of gets to you, right? You miss walking. There's no sidewalks there. You walk on the sidewalk, scooter could run you over. So, yeah. So it's all that. And you come to a place like Europe. Oh my God, I'm walking. My legs are moving. What is this, legs? You have to relearn how to walk, relearn how to breathe again. So it's been really nice. Yeah. I have been promising you New York for 3 years now. I know. I am working on it. Let's see what life tells me. It's the best I can do. Oh, Michael. Hey. Yeah, buddy. Yeah. We will get there. Promise. It's great to see that you control your speed. I do while talking. I'm influenced. Incredible. Yes. Which is actually one of the biggest aspects that changed, that turned me from an anxious person to a more neutral and calm person was the mindfulness around how fast I did things, right? It's not like I eat like this, but I am aware of it, right? And don't bring me to a big party because I'll just embarrass you. I do everything a little different than everybody else. So, and I'm not afraid to make myself look ridiculous. So I'll say some pretty embarrassing things. I just don't care anymore, and that's a nice place to really be, right? Where you just don't care. I used to be really afraid of rejection and crave acceptance. Those are the brother and sister of anxiety right there. So once you get rid of those, you're on the right track for sure. Let's see here. Eddie, I know you're a soccer fan. Are you? Yes, I'm watching Arsenal and Manchester United in about an hour. And yes, go Man U. Go Man U. I've been a Man U fan for many years, and it's nice to see them back. Let's see here. Magic Conch, 1989. I've been suffering with fear of death and fearing every body sensation, especially head and chest. I wanted to do your program, but can't afford it. I don't know what to do. I've contacted you before. Contact me again. Okay, endanxiety@gmail.com. We will make it happen. Okay? Okay. Everybody deserves to go through my programs because It's not overwhelming. When you go through one of my programs, it is baby steps. The challenges are there, right? But absolutely, yes, sir. I know what it's like. I know what it's like. I get emotional just thinking about where you might be because I know what it's like. But you go through the program step by step, proven and not overwhelming, especially if you're really confused. Like if you're in a confused place, you don't really know what direction to go. There's so much information out there. That's where my programs can help. But absolutely, we'll make it work. What were your worst symptoms or fears? Haberti, my worst symptom was depersonalization / dizziness. Comment below if that's you. Not you, but something that you're experiencing. I can write my email here. There you go. Wrote it down. Eddie, we're rivals today. Okay. um, let's see. Where was I? Worst symptoms: depersonalization. Uh, my worst symptoms: trembling. Um, I mean, yeah, lack of concentration, short-term memory issues, dizziness, swaying on a boat, uh, lump in the throat. They were all bad. Right? They were all really, well, I wouldn't call them bad, but they were all there. There was a lot of symptoms. Uh, my fears, worst fears. I don't know where to start. I honestly don't know where to start. My worst fears. Oh man. Let's see. I was afraid to talk to people. I was afraid to be creative. I was afraid to walk too fast because of all my heart palpitations. I was afraid to go anywhere crowded. I was afraid to eat food. I was afraid to go to the bathroom and go number two. I don't really know why. I was afraid of the water, thinking the water was toxic, so I was difficulty showering. I was afraid of getting in my car because I had watched movies when I was a kid where people would put bombs underneath the car, and I was every time I turned it on, I thought I would explode in the car. Right. So yeah, the list is pretty damn long. Okay. So a lot of external and obviously a lot of fears concerning the symptoms. Like what could it be? Is it a this? Is it a that? And I didn't really believe in doctors. Diagnoses. There as in spiral all day, every day, right? Yeah, a lot of digestive issues, a lot of gastrointestinal issues, for sure. Let's see. Patty. Yes, Patty. Oh, thank you for the email. I'll try to. I'll try. I will get to it later today. Dennis, what if we no longer consciously feel anxiety, but we go from one symptom to another? Then good. Then good. Just keep doing what you're doing. Really. Um, as I mentioned very very openly and repeatedly in all my books, the body is the last to go. Right? The body is the last to go. The body is the last to catch up to the changes you're making mentally, lifestyle changes, verbally with other people, behavioral changes, right? A lot of changes with anxiety, right? So the body is the last to catch up to all those changes. Now, if the symptoms prevail, if they're perpetuating, and if they're continuing, um, and some time has passed, then you really want to look at the fact, Patty, that you may be consciously able to see things as safe, but the body is still highly sensitized to things. So, like I mentioned in that moment, it'd probably be a good idea to up your level of relaxation stuff, like deep breathing techniques, Observing thoughts, observing meditations, where you close your eyes and simply observe the ideas and the sounds, internal and external. So observing helps a lot. Grounding helps a lot. So you just want to kind of get to a place where you reset the system again. But safety in the conscious mind doesn't always mean safety to the body and the subconscious body, right? So you may need to do those things in the environments that you spend time in, right? So that would be my recommendation for sure. Hearing you say all that about symptoms brought a big smile in my heart. Eric, glad I can make you smile. Good, you're not alone. Far from it. Renee, I'm struggling so hard, mind, body, and soul. I fall into panic and isolate. I lost my home a year ago. I'm sorry to hear that, to a fire, and I live each day in panic. We're here for you. This information is here for you. Better days are ahead, I promise. Renee, it's nice to have you here. And you are loved here, really. Um, Haberti, from when you started to heal until you felt like you were healed, how long did it take? Oh, about 3 months. 3 months. Got going in 3 months. Obviously, it took a lot longer than that, but at the 3 month mark, I was starting to see change. But again, you have to watch what kind of questions you ask, guys, because if you ask questions with the need for an absolute certain answer, then that's anxiety, right? That's still a lot of reassurance there. So you're in the frantic stage. You want to leave the frantic stage and you want to get to the next stage. Okay. You want to learn from the habits and the patterns that you continue to enact on a daily basis, the questions you ask, how you speak to people and such, and you want to begin replacing those. Oh, it's even better when you tag at the anxiety guy. I believe it's in at the anxiety guy one straight across. Um, Someone else took the other one. Mick, how to deal with extreme chronic fatigue. When you deal with extreme chronic fatigue, you've got to do it from different levels, I believe. Number one, firstly, you have to do it from a mental level. You don't want to play the victim because of your chronic fatigue, because that just creates more chronic fatigue. The first thing you want to do mentally, Mick, is you want to make sure that you have a certain degree of gentleness towards yourself. Okay? So you want that gentleness, you want that empathy, not so much sympathy, but empathy towards that part of you. So you want to make sure that you start like that. Okay. Um, with chronic fatigue, as mentioned earlier, I would pay attention to some of the nutrients that you may be deficient in. I seem to want to go in this direction. So a lot of, like I mentioned earlier, some of the nutrients, the minerals that need to be put back into place. I believe chronic fatigue has a lot to do with carried trauma. The emotional weight tends to trigger a similar reaction in the physical body. So you may be carrying a lot of emotional weight, Nick, from years past. That's continuing into the present. Um, so you want to do some trauma work in terms of reframing, in my opinion. But gentleness, deficiencies in nutrients and minerals. Actually, Epsom salt baths helped me a lot with my chronic fatigue back in the day. Epsom salt baths help a lot. And you really want to pay attention to how much you take on, as an obvious note there. Okay, but those are some things to get you started for sure. All right. Let's see here. Absolutely, Lou Mason. Absolutely. Yeah. Wow, this is great. I love that you guys are Connecting with one another. This is great. Why do I have constant lightheaded feelings when I move around? First thing I go to is overwhelm when I think lightheadedness. The lightheadedness protects us from further panic. The lightheadedness is a result of too many overwhelming situations that you found yourself in. And the system basically creates this chemical protection so that you no longer go into that state of overwhelm you found yourself in back in the day. So when you feel lightheadedness, you need to also have a certain degree of gratitude. Thank you for looking to protect me from, further levels of overwhelm. That started me on the healing journey. I used to go, oh, why is this lightheadedness here? Oh, this sucks. And then I used to go, oh, thank you for that, thank you for that. There's no longer a need for that because we're changing our perspectives, we're changing our lifestyle patterns, we're not carrying our traumas forward anymore. But thank you for the protection. That gentleness is very, very important. Um, when you see your symptoms, the most difficult thing is to work with the symptom. The most difficult thing is to see the symptom as some kind of a protective response from the body uh, that is overly protective, right? Think about a helicopter parent, now times it by 100, and you've got your subconscious body, right? But when we can create this kind of approach, this kind of mindset towards these symptoms, things start to change because we're not adding more tension, right? If I go, oh, why is this symptom still here? That's tension. Look, I'm tightening my arm, I'm tightening my head, I'm creating more anxiety there. We don't want that, right? So the mindset is very key. Jim, Anders, how are you? Dennis, thank you. You're very welcome. How do I reframe work, money, anxiety, like no feeling like I have the skills to provide for my family, but I always have? I don't quite understand the question. Um, you want to reframe um, beliefs that you have in regards to work, money. Is that correct? Sundays are the worst for me after sitting around all weekend. Possibly due to the fear of Mondays. I don't know. Let's see here. Um, Jim, like always thinking I'll be fired. Okay, so that could potentially or most likely stem from the past where you engaged in creative acts, you did things and you were let down, right? And if you were let down and people told you, no, that's not the way to do things, this is the way to do things, then you may be feeling like you're tippy-toeing around your work. Does that make sense? If that's the case, you're a perfectionist and you don't like engaging in things if you don't know the outcome to it. Does that sound like you? I don't know. Uh, and that perfectionism is creating the tension, that's creating the anxiety, that is not allowing you to be spontaneous, to be creative, to be clear in your daily life. um, it's very common, right? But in order to reframe, I believe there's two different things you have to do. Number one is you want to wake up every single morning before you go to work, okay, closing your eyes and imagining a not carefree, but a lot more relaxed you in every moment of that workday. Okay, so you basically open up your eyes and then you close your eyes and you imagine the workday exactly how you want it to go from the perspective and from the identity of the new you who's relaxed, who has a lot of, this is a key word, faith, right? Faith has to replace fear. So if you knew you could never be fired, if you knew that you were making the amount of money that you want to make, if you knew those things were absolutely present, what would that look like in your imagination from one moment to the next? So you want to do that. Number two is as you're at work, you want to give yourself, you want to pick up on opportunities on when you can become this person and enact it. Okay, so there's two things you have to do. You have to imagine what it is you want in great detail with your five senses engaged. This is who I want to be from the morning, right? This is how I want my day to unfold. I'm talking to people, hey man, yeah, boss, you high-fiving them, right? Oh, you see money coming down from the sky, for example, if that's your goal, or you're picking it off a money tree, if that's your goal. So easy, right? So that's the imaginative aspect. And then as you're going through your workday, you want to enact some of that stuff. So that's a good start. Okay. You'll notice me talk a lot about imagination. I believe you can't fail as long as you imagine with great certainty what it is you desire consistently. Okay. There's no failing then. The only failing comes after you have achieved what it is you want and you pull yourself back into a familiar state of worry. Remember, I said this last week, guys. We have to devalue worry. We have to devalue worry. Worry has no value attached to it. So every single time you're about to worry about something, remind yourself that you're just going in circles. You see your dog running around trying to catch their tail, that's you and worry, right? Red Dog 06, good to see you. Yes, my friend. Always nice to connect. Much love, much love. I hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well in all aspects. So we devalue worry. Let's see. I'm going to take a few more questions here, guys. Comment below on how this live has helped you in some way, because I need to feed my ego. Just kidding. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. I just want to know how it's helpful. Okay, so comment and let me know what aspect of this live really spoke to you. Okay. Jim, that helped. Okay. Yep. Now we just have to put it into play. And in the beginning, you're not going to be very good at it, right? But that's okay. If you want, Jim, go on the reframing playlist that I have. Okay, reframing playlist, and there you'll see future reframe. Future reframe. That's the video. If you feel like you want to be guided through this imaginative and physiological process, then put that on every morning before you go to work. Okay, that kind of walks you through the process. Top Gun. Wow, it's so nice to see you guys so engaged with each other. That's great. Fantastic. Cool, Jim. Awesome. Joseph, there's another guy. Joseph, Ashley, Joseph. I mean, this goes on. Joseph also struggled back in the day, probably more recently, right, Joseph? And he's created his own podcast and making some very positive noise. I absolutely love that you've taken that step, brother. And that's really, I mean, I hope everybody gets the chance to share their wisdom through anxiety healing in one way or another. But Joseph, great podcast. And I think you can connect with Joseph on Instagram somehow and pay attention to his podcast there. Let's see here. Lou Mason. Something going on outside. Dennis, what's your opinion doing cold showers? I love them. I tried one yesterday. It helped, but wow, it was crazy cold. Cold showers have the potential, of course, there's all sorts of benefits to your nervous system and to in other ways, but cold showers have the potential to, I see cold showers working really well for anger. You can also use them in terms of alternating between hot and cold, and there's certain systems that you want to pay attention to that will help with that. But for me, I've seen the most benefit in terms of irritability and anger when it comes to cold showers. Of course, guys, make sure that you do your due diligence and your research before adding something crazy new into your life. Don't just jump into it right away. Like, be honest with yourself, but don't allow fear to be one of the things that keep you from cold showers. But for me, love them. I do them every morning. I do an alternate of hot and cold. I do hot for about 45 seconds. I'll do cold for 15 seconds. and I'll keep that going for about 3 or 4 repetitions, and then I'll always finish with cold. Let's see here. Okie dokie. Let's see here. Michael, you can marry us? Well, look at you. Fantastic. Another reason to come to New York, huh? Karen, can you talk about travel anxiety? I'm flying Friday and my body has been on anxiety overdrive. Well, answer this question for me. What are you most excited about your travel? Comment below. Actually, give me a list. Give me a list of the things that you're excited about in regards to your travel coming up this Friday. Let's hear it. Good to see you today. It's good to see you, Mr. and Mrs. Huff. Absolutely, Patty. She mentions how cold showers also allow you to become comfortable with uncomfortable feelings. 100%. Right? Roger, yes, Roger. Got it. Got it. Let's see here. Guys, so many of the questions you ask have a lot to do with cleaning out your stuff, really. I mean, the things that are happening in the present are more often than not just residue from things in the past. They're fragments, right? So any fears that you have something to do with a past experience or information that you heard. For example, I used to be afraid of getting on planes. When I was young, I watched this movie where the plane was exploding and the top was coming off. There's a documentary or something like that, and like every time I thought about a plane in my late 20s, mid 20s, I would get really nervous and kind of stayed away from it. But I realized, like, okay, well, this needs a reframe, right? Together we are stronger, Rob. Absolutely, we are. Punto, you truly have helped me. Still not there, but I will get there. That's a nice approach. Thank you. When is the Health Anxiety audiobook coming out? On the 1st, February 1st, around there, around the 1st. How to beat anxiety on Sunday and holidays. Well, that's a big one, big question there. But for example, when you think about Sunday, there needs to be a reassociation. When people think about Sunday, they think, oh my God, Monday's so soon, right? So I better, I don't want to enjoy Sunday fully because I know it's just short lived and Monday's right around the corner, right? So Sunday becomes this whole I'm kind of enjoying myself, but I also know that it's going to be taken away from me thing. Kind of like when you were young. There's the trauma most likely connected to it where your toys were taken away or something was told to you that you didn't expect in that moment, right? And so you thought, oh, there's no point of being happy because happiness is just going to be taken away from me. So many people that have anxiety, they have a lot of progress. They relay, they're going through PTSD basically, right? And so they don't allow themselves to feel the progress. Oh yeah, I'm feeling a bit better, but right, I still have this symptom. No, forget the symptom. Focus on the feeling better part, right? So it's important to just pay attention to that, right? Are you the kind of person that every time something good comes into your life, you don't spend time with it, you don't give energy to it because you just feel like it's going to be taken away from you? If that's the case, the original experiences need to be reframed. Okay. So I would close the person's eyes and I would ask them, if you were in the same situation as you were back in the day, what would you like to see happen instead? It's a very short version. What would you like to? Well, I'd like to see, instead of that person taking my toys away, I'd like them to bring me more toys. Okay. See that happening now, right? And they're playing in the bath. The toys are there. Fantastic, right? I love it. Oh, everything I touch turns to gold, right? Boom. There's the reframe. You do it a few times. with an emotional backing, things in the present will change. Let's see. Jennifer and Rob connecting. Nice to see. Mick, what would you say are the main steps for overcoming agoraphobia? Agoraphobia, GAD, panic attacks. I'm motivated but not sure what to do. That's a fully loaded question. I don't know if I can answer that, Mick. There's a lot there. But having said that, there's a lot there. So the motivation is there. Okay, so it's not a mindset issue for you, Mick. It's more of a skill set issue. Okay, so in terms of skill set, just stay on this YouTube channel and on the Anxiety Guy channel. And let me give you a few keywords here. Put NLP, the Anxiety Guy. Those are some skill sets. Put the Anxiety Guy gray room. Write these down. Okay, I'll write them down in this thing. NLP Anxiety Guy. This is for the skill set people. Gray room Anxiety Guy. Okay, mapping, meditation, Anxiety Guy. So if you put these in, we're talking about skill sets. Okay, so when I think about skill sets, I'm thinking about things that you do when you're emotionally neutral, right? Such as doing the meditations and such. But I'm also talking about skill set in outside world, when you're with people, when you're amongst more maybe chaotic experiences. There needs to be skills there. So if you have the motivation, but you don't know what to do, that's not a skill set. That's not a mindset issue. That's a skill set issue. All you have to do is add a few skills. Structure your day. Like in the morning, here are the two things I'm doing. As I'm going through the day, I'm going to say, for example, I'm going to focus on the word or, very CBT, right? When I think about the worst possible scenario, every single time that thought shows up, I replace it with the word or, and I finish the sentence. Oh, this ginger really doesn't taste very good. I don't know if it's even good for me. Or I know it's going to be tremendously beneficial and I can't wait to eat it. That's just one example. This anxiety symptom's been following me forever. I just can't live with it anymore. Or I'm grateful that my body's sending me a message of a past trauma that I need to reframe. Whatever. Use the power of or. That would be a skill set. Right? Absolutely, Jennifer. Last question, guys. Last question. One more question. One more question before we depart. Until tomorrow's podcast episode. Who's enjoying the podcast? Are you more of a YouTube person or a podcast person? Those are my two favorite places to be. I don't really love the other platform stuff, right? I don't get to connect as well as I do here with people. Let's see here. Thank you very much, Mick says. You're very welcome. You're the one who kicked my anxiety recovery journey. I will leave you with this. I think what's very important is to recognize that a lot of people in the world are starting to ask better questions of the world and better questions of themselves, because a lot of people feel like anxiety is something that they can never ever overcome. They don't believe that it's something that can leave them in mind, body, and spirit, right? And they can become somebody else. But a lot of people are starting to question this. I do believe that so many systems that are in place governmentally and in other ways are there to keep us stuck and to keep us suffering. So a lot of people out there are questioning things like the school system, which I believe is good, but in terms of creativity, in terms of life lessons, maybe not the best, right? So they're questioning school system and the amount of stress and anxiety and such that comes from that. other things, mental health related systems that are in place. Maybe they're not the best. Maybe the things that they call alternatives are the things I really need. Notice that if you hear something called alternative for your anxiety or mental health, most likely that comes from the East. They in the West, they tend to think that Eastern cultures are alternative ways of healing anxiety. I believe they're primary, right? So the biggest, I'll say this, the biggest changes I made with anxiety in myself was taking from Eastern cultures to heal. I remember in Singapore when I went to a non-medicinal uh, center for anxiety and depression and stuff. I used to look at people and go, "What the hell are they doing in there?" Right? So I'm watching them. One person's in front of the mirror, making faces at themselves, right, laughing for no particular reason. And the person told me that this person is diagnosed with clinical depression. So I was like, what are you doing there? And for anxiety, they're sitting around doing laughter therapy, laughter yoga, for example. These are the types of things that, we tend to view as being weak when in fact they're very strong, right? So there's a lot of different directions we can go, but I highly recommend that if something is not working, if it's not working, if you look at your results and you're not happy, go in a different direction, basically. Right? Be open to things you haven't been open to, and keep questioning things. Keep questioning things. You will get there. Where's the podcast? Apple, the Anxiety Guy podcast, or Stitcher, or Podbean, whatever it is. But I love you all from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for joining me. Have a wonderful day. Let's make peace with the ginger, my friends, right? Um, and remember that you are more than anxiety. You are not what you feel. You are not what you think you think. You are not your social circles. You are not the amount of money you make. You are not the way you woke up in the morning. You are not the images that cross your mind of catastrophic endings. You are not who you are right now. Okay, those are all programs. And what we're doing is we're replacing those programs with better programs. That's it. But in order to do that, you need to look in the mirror, right? And see someone different. Look in the mirror, see someone different. Do it every single day. I love you all. I'll see you soon. Give this video a like if it helped you. Bye, guys. Catch up soon. Bye-bye.